Hola, welcome. I'm really glad that you're here. If you've ever dreamed of speaking Spanish so you can travel with confidence, connect with locals, or maybe just finally learn a language off your list, then you're in exactly the right place. My name's Kelly and I help complete beginners go from zero to actually being able to hold conversations in Spanish. I've been creating and delivering fun and engaging Spanish lessons for adults and children of all ages and abilities since I moved back to the UK after an epic 20-year adventure in South America. I've taught hundreds of students, from adults starting fresh to kids learning from home. And what I know for sure is this: Spanish is easier and more fun than you think when you have the right roadmap. My love for Spanish began back in high school, but it truly came to life in my early 20s when I set off for South America. I started out in Venezuela teaching English and working with an adventure tourism company. I was selling tours and helping out on rafting expeditions for a year, and yes, it does sound as fabulous as it was. And from there I headed to the Colombian Caribbean, where I spent 12 months learning to scuba dive. So I went from PADI open water to dive instructor entirely in Spanish. My instructors did not speak English. From there I went to Ecuador, where I taught English for another year while having the incredible opportunity of daily one-to-one Spanish lessons. I mean, that made the difference for me. I travelled extensively through Peru and Bolivia before settling in Mendoza in Argentina, and that's where I ran my own travel agency for 15 years that specialised in wine tours. Along the way, I became fluent in Spanish to the level of a native speaker. And today I run Adventures in Spanish from my home on the beautiful Llyn Peninsula in North Wales. Life here is a little quieter, of course, but just as full of languages. My children are growing up speaking 4 languages: Welsh, Spanish, English and French. In the next 30 minutes, you're going to discover the 3 big mistakes that beginners make when they're trying to learn Spanish and how to avoid them. You're going to learn about the Spanish Adventure Framework, which is a simple 3-step method that gets you speaking faster than apps or phrasebooks ever could, and a few quick wins that you can start using immediately so that you walk away today able to say something new in Spanish with confidence. And finally, I'll share how you can keep the momentum going and in just 6 weeks go from complete beginner to being able to hold simple conversations while you're travelling. And here's the best part. If you stay until the end of this video, I've got a bonus resource for you, my Holiday Spanish Survival Guide. That way, even if you do nothing else, you've already leave this session with something practical and useful. So, grab a notebook, turn off any distractions and let's dive in. Because by the end of today's training, you'll see exactly how you can make Spanish learning not only possible, but enjoyable and finally achievable. Okay, so quick win number 1, the magic polite phrase. So let's start with something that will instantly make you sound polite, confident and capable in Spanish. It's this phrase: ¿Me puede traer? ¿Me puede traer? It means, can you bring me? And this is your golden key in a cafe, restaurante or in a bar. So instead of memorising 50 ways to order food, you can just use this one structure and plug in the word that you need. I'm going to go through some examples now. After I've said each one, you can repeat it. So the first one is, ¿Me puede traer un café? ¿Me puede traer un café? The next one, ¿Me puede traer la cuenta? ¿Me puede traer la cuenta? ¿Me puede traer agua, por favor? ¿Me puede traer agua, por favor? Can you feel how powerful that is? So it's just one sentence frame with endless possibilities. And by the way, locals love it when you can order politely instead of just saying café, with a hand gesture, or la cuenta. All right, quick win number 2, the plug and play survival sentence. Okay, so now we're going to learn a sentence that will save you when you don't know the word. Because let's be real, you're not going to know all the words. I mean, I don't know all of the words. All right, so this is the phrase. ¿Cómo se dice blank en español? And I use this with students all the time. And it literally means, how do you say, insert the word, in Spanish? Okay, and this transforms you from a nervous tourist into an adventurous learner. Because you're not just showing curiosity, you're inviting locals to help you as well. And Spaniards love it. Right, let's go through some examples. So the first one, ¿Cómo se dice napkin en español? ¿Cómo se dice napkin en español, por favor? Se dice servilleta. Servilleta. ¿Cómo se dice station en español? ¿Cómo se dice station en español, por favor? Se dice estación. Estación. So instead of panicking, you've actually turned the conversation into an interaction. And trust me, most people light up when you ask this, and they'll happily teach you. Okay, so you can practice this yourself by picking a few words that you'd like to know how to say in español and practicing. ¿Cómo se dice pencil sharpener en español? Se dice sacapuntas. Actually, one of my favourite Spanish words. Okay, so quick wins number 3. Greetings that make you sound like a local. All right, well, let's tackle these because most tourists just learn hola and gracias, which is fine. But if you want to connect with people, use what locals actually say. So in Spain and in Argentina, lots of countries, instead of saying hello, people often say buenas. Buenas. Super casual, warm and friendly. And instead of saying ¿Cómo estás?, we can say ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué tal? Yep, how's it going? Much friendlier than ¿Cómo estás?" in daily use. So let's try them together. Buenas, ¿qué tal? So imagine you're walking into a bakery and instead of mumbling hola and you smile, walk in with a bit more confidence and say buenas. And suddenly the shopkeeper's face lights up and you've already built some rapport. And this is the kind of teeny tiny tweak that makes you feel like an insider instead of a tourist watching from the outside. So in just a few minutes you've learned one phrase to order anything politely, one sentence to keep conversations going even if you don't know the words, super, super, super useful, and greetings that make you sound like you belong more. These are quick wins, but they're just the beginning. Imagine what happens when you build on this systematically with the compass, map, and adventure framework I'll share next. That's when Spanish stops being stressful. Say that quickly. Spanish stops being stressful and starts being your adventure. Now, before we go any deeper, let me ask you, how many of you have tried learning Spanish before? Maybe Duolingo streaks, maybe a school class years ago, or even a phrase book before a holiday. Okay. And how many of you felt motivated at first, but then life got in the way, or the grammar felt, I don't know, overwhelming, and eventually you gave up? Well, you're not alone. Most of my students arrive feeling like Spanish just isn't for them. And you know what? It's not their fault. And it's not your fault. It's the way you're taught. So let's clear out some myths about learning Spanish. Myth number 1. You need to memorize endless grammar tables before you can speak. Okay, so the reality with this is that you don't. You need a handful of high-frequency phrases that unlock real conversations. The grammar will grow naturally from the use. Myth number 2. Apps and streaks will get you fluent. Well, the reality is that apps are fine, but they're like doing flashcards forever without learning how to actually use the language. You don't want a collection of words, you want confidence. Myth number 3. I'm too old, I'm too busy, or I'm no good at languages. Well, I guess you might be able to guess what's coming here, because I've taught people in their 50s, 60s, even 70s, and they're thriving. Why? Because learning Spanish is about approach, it's not about age. If you can learn to use a smartphone, you can learn to order tapas. So, if those old beliefs don't work, what does? Well, Spanish isn't something you study, it's something you live. So when you stop treating Spanish like homework, all right, your tutor will set you some homework, but when you stop treating it like homework and start treating it like an adventure, everything changes. So imagine this. Instead of sitting with a textbook, you're in a Spanish cafe, smiling, ordering confidently. Instead of memorising verbs, you're chatting with a local about their favourite tapas. Instead of studying, you're exploring. So the key is to start with real life scenarios. Build confidence step by step and let the grammar sneak in naturally along the way. Okay, so here's the truth. If you've struggled with Spanish before, it wasn't you. It was the method. You don't need to be a grammar genius. You don't need to study for hours a day. What you need is a simple framework that turns Spanish into an adventure, one that fits into your life, builds your confidence quickly, and actually makes you want to keep going. And that's exactly what I'm going to share with you next, the Spanish Adventure Framework. This is the method that's helped my students go from I can't say anything to confidently ordering meals, chatting with locals, and even travelling with ease. Okay, so now I want to share with you the exact method that I've used with hundreds of learners to go from I can't say anything in Spanish to I can confidently order tapas in Madrid and actually enjoy the experience. Now, I call it the Spanish Adventure Framework, and it's all about making Spanish a journey that you actually want to take, rather than another school subject that you dread. And every great adventure starts with a compass. And in Spanish, that means the essential phrases that point you in the right direction. So instead of drowning in grammar tables, I help my students master the 20% of Spanish that gets them 80% of results. For example, so the phrase me puede traer, which means can you bring me? Well, this phrase unlocks hundreds of possibilities at a restaurant. You literally just swap out the noun and suddenly you can order anything on the menu. Once you've got this compass, you don't feel lost. You can always find your way. Next, you need a map. And knowing words is one thing, but if they don't connect, well, you're just going to end up with a messy notebook full of vocab. And the map is where we build confidence with scenarios. So, imagine yourself walking into a cafe, greeting the waiter, ordering a coffee, and asking for the bill. So you know exactly what to say at every stage. It's like tracing a route on a map. You're not guessing, you're following clear paths. And the best part, well, once you master one map, like for example ordering in a cafe, you can use the same pattern in other situations, like buying train tickets, booking a hotel room, even shopping at the market. And finally, the adventure. Now, this is where the magic happens. You take your compass and your map and you start exploring. And the adventure is about immersion. Now, I'm not talking about moving to Spain or Latin America. I'm talking about small daily habits that make Spanish part of your life. Things like watching Netflix with Spanish subtitles on, or listening to a Spanish song while you're cooking, practicing Spanish phrases with a travel buddy. And here's the key. When you treat Spanish as an adventure and not just homework, you stop thinking that you have to study and you start thinking, I get to explore. And suddenly every new phrase is a little treasure that you've discovered. So that's the Spanish Adventure Framework. We've got the compass, which is your essential phrases, the map, which is the scenario-based learning, and of course the adventure, which is your daily immersion and cultural exploration. Now, of course, in just a few minutes, I can only scratch the surface of this, But imagine if we walked this whole journey together, step by step. And that's exactly what I've built inside my beginner's Spanish course, where you don't just learn the framework, you actually live it. I'll show you how to get started with that in just a moment. But first, I'd like to tell you how my beginner's Spanish course can help change your travel experiences. Okay, so by now you've probably seen how much fun Spanish can be, and hopefully you've picked up a few quick wins today. But let me ask you something. Have you ever thought, I'd love to actually be able to hold a real conversation in Spanish, not just order a coffee or say hola? Maybe you've tried apps, maybe you've dipped into YouTube lessons, but it hasn't really stuck. What you need isn't just more vocab, random vocab. You need a clear step-by-step path that takes you from where you are now, a complete beginner, to someone who can hold a simple conversation in Spanish while you're travelling. And that's exactly why I created my beginner's Spanish course. Now, this is my flagship course for beginners. It's an online, self-paced program that you can do at a time that's convenient for you. There's no need to turn up live, there's no stress, no timetable clashes. Here's what it covers. So, in just 6 lessons, you'll go from 0 to being able to have simple conversations in Spanish. You'll learn key grammar basics, so the ones that you actually need, not all the textbook fluff. You'll discover how to ask questions in Spanish so that you're not just answering but actually engaging in real conversations. Every lesson comes with quizzes and activities to help you practice straight away. You'll also get access to listening resources so you can train your ear to the rhythm of real Spanish, and I introduce you to some fabulous Spanish artists. And more importantly, I'll show you how to build a sustainable learning routine, one that fits into your life, so that you don't just learn for 6 weeks and then stop, you actually keep growing. And by the end of the course, here's where you'll be. You'll be able to introduce yourself, order food, ask for directions, and handle travel situations in Spanish with confidence. You'll have enough grammar to build your own sentences so that you're not just repeating memorised phrases. You'll feel less nervous, more confident, and you'll actually start enjoying speaking Spanish. And you'll be back on track from complete beginner, which is your A1, to moving confidently into the improver level, which is the A2. So imagine landing in Spain or Latin America, and instead of panicking, you're the one ordering the tapas, you're the one asking the waiter questions, and you're the one chatting with locals and really experiencing the culture, not just standing on the sidelines. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh, but I've tried that before and it didn't work. Well, that's exactly why this course is built with activities, quizzes, and routines, so that you're not just watching videos, you're actively participating and practicing as you go along. I don't have time. Each lesson is designed to be manageable, so you can do it in small chunks, even 15 minutes at a time. It's a flexible course, so it works around your life. What if I'm no good at languages? Well, here's the truth. I've taught hundreds of students, and the only people who don't succeed are the ones who give up. If you follow the steps, you will see results. Spanish is one of the easiest languages for English speakers to learn, believe it or not. So you just need a clear path. So here's my invitation to you. If you're ready to stop dabbling and actually start speaking Spanish with confidence, I'd love you to join us in the Beginner's Spanish course. In just 6 weeks, you'll go from 0 to holding simple conversations while you're travelling. You'll have a clear routine, resources, and a step-by-step plan. And you'll finally be able to enjoy Spanish instead of struggling with it. All you need to do is click the link and you'll get instant access. I love to see you inside the course, and I really can't wait to help you take those first exciting steps into the Spanish speaking world. I'll just finish by saying this. Learning Spanish genuinely changed my life. It opened doors, brought amazing friendships, and gave me experiences that I'd never have had otherwise. And I want that for you too. So if you're ready, come and join me. Let's get you speaking Spanish. And if you enroll on my beginner's Spanish course within the next 72 hours, you'll get my holiday Spanish survival guide thrown in absolutely free. See you there.